Okay, we're recording.
All right. Yay! I'm so excited to have everyone here, and we have Jessica online as well, and there may be some more people that come on as well. And I was just saying, Jessica, that even more importantly, I am so grateful to be sharing this time and space with some really lovely women today. And that was kind of the, Wonder Women. We are all Wonder Women in this really interesting environment, not only now, but in the past and as we move forward into the future. I get chills sometimes when I think about the awesome friendships that I have with you ladies. So I just want to talk a little bit about the Healy and what it is. I've got some people that will share their testimonials with you guys, and Terry here will also share some of the science behind it and why it works. I will start out by saying that Healy was introduced just a couple years ago in Germany, and it was launched in the US in May, and it is a game changer. People have called it a doctor in a box. People have called it a prayer, which if I talk about that too much, it'll make me cry. And just the testimonials of people really shifting and experiencing really phenomenal results from the Healy. So what is the Healy? Well, it's actually an FDA cleared medical device for chronic acute pain. And then also for overexertion for muscles. But it's so much more than that. We are just experiencing all kinds of phenomenal results with this. And it's this little device right here. I'll let Terry talk. She just speaks so eloquently of the science behind it, but there's a quantum sensor in here. And it basically is frequency healing. Frequency healing may be new to you, but it actually has been going on for decades, if not beyond that. And it's starting to make its way back. And we're really excited about that. But Terry, would you talk a little bit about, just a little bit about the history of it and then the science of it?
You bet.
Okay, thanks.
So 20 years ago, I first experienced energy frequency healing at a clinic I worked at in Santa Fe, New Mexico. So this wasn't out of the ordinary for me. It was a dream that we tried to work with all the way back then in terms of a dentist office trying to create a frequency that would get rid of periodontal disease. Because people have known frequency medicine has been available for 150 years, but because mainstream said it was crazy, it got shoved aside. What's intriguing about how the Healy came into existence, it has a parent company, and its parent company is called Time Waver. And the gentleman who is a scientist, just as a really quick overview, his name is Marcus Schmieka, and he was a savant, or is a savant. As a young man, he played piano virtuoso at 9. He played chess blindfolded. He went to university, and they call it something other than university in Germany, but he was there at 16 and 17 studying quantum physics, but he was bored. He wanted deeper questions answered, and so he ended up going to India, and he did 12 years of spiritual study and growth trying to get these deeper questions that he had answered. And he came back, kind of sounded like mom and dad said, okay, now it's time to come back and do life, and in a different way. And so he speaks very eloquently that Time Waver, which again is the parent device, that's only been used in clinician's office. He dreamed that into being and birthed it, and it's been used widely in Europe and in other places in the world, but it's a $40,000 unit, and it has to be administered by a healthcare professional. And so great success. And then all of these synchronicities that have occurred in his life, he happened to meet a gentleman named Kristen Halpern, who is a financier. He had a huge hedge fund in Europe and got out of mainstream money and really wanted to invest in things that were conscious for the planet, things that were helping the planet. And so his engagement when he met Marcus was that they decided that there were limitations for it being in a doctor's office. First of all, a lot of people didn't even know that it was available. So if you weren't going to that doctor, what were you going to do? So they decided to get it to the masses of people, they would create a wearable device. So first point of interest, this is a wearable device. So that's unique. If you stop and think of healthcare, a wearable device besides a watch that, you know, takes your blood pressure and all of that sort of thing, this is actually, and that's, I wasn't joking, this is to me the doctor in a box, because every day how I utilize mine is just like that. I do a check-in with my body every day that I would never do if I were going to an allopathic doctor. So anyway, Marcus then, they decided they were going to put this out as a wearable device, and that wearable device was birthed in 2017, the first time it was utilized. But again, it was just a short-range vision in Germany. Then they decided in January of 19 to release it to the world. So before it came to the United States, it had been out in the field for almost 15 months in other countries around the world. They brought it to the United States in May of this year. And the growth, the exponential growth of this has been phenomenal. And the science that is behind it, so for as tiny as this is, it has a quantum sensor. So there's number one, unique in the marketplace, quantum sensor. The second thing is it is connected to 144,000 frequencies. And those frequencies are actually a database that was created with the combination of 25 years of clinical practice. So I'm going to say that again, 25 years, 15 years with one clinician named Nina in Portugal, and then respective of Carolyn Macon, who actually lives in Portland in the United States. Her machine is not time labor, but her machine is a similar energy machine. So it's all this collected data that they have used to create the list of frequencies that are inside the Healy. So it literally, as a physical device, you hook it up to wristbands, and the wristbands are here. You put the wristbands on, and the wristbands develop or send to our body a microcurrent. So there's two parts to a Healy. The first part is physical microcurrents going to your cells. That's part A. And it's delivered through this from the machine. So you just plug these things into the machine. That's part A. And that's a pink application, and it's actually an app on your phone. So microcurrents that go into your cells. The second aspect is a blue app, and that blue app is called a resonance, and its frequencies and its scans. So I'm just going to talk about the pink app for a second. The pink app delivers an electrical charge into a cell. Your cell, actually a live healthy cell, has a negative 70 millivolt charge. So it actually is a battery. And when your cell is healthy, it acts as a battery. And as your cell declines, it actually loses its valence or its charge. So what this does is it wakes your cells up. Allopathically, we're used to looking to something systemic. You've got, you know, a broken arm, you've got a pain in your leg, you've got a muscle spasm, you've got something that's very location specific. One of the things that makes Healy profound is that it is systemic. So when this microcharge goes into your body, it is not being directed by a clinician. It's not being directed by anything. Your cells are directing it because it's coming into your cells, and your cells are taking up and utilizing it in the best way that your body needs it. So that's unique in the system of healthcare because it's systemic and your body is orchestrating where it needs to go. And you may have specific issues that you can apply, but the wizardry of this that really is magic for me is that your cells systemically are really designing where this is going to go. And then the resonance is actually scans your body, and it's a diagnostic, if you will, and tells you where you're the most out of resonance. And that is then how it's applied to your body. So it's a complex system, and it's also a very simple system. And The stats that I most recently saw is that within 1 to 10 usage, 1 to 10 times of using, and I'm going to say the microcurrents, not the resonance factor, but because they can statistically look at this, 1 to 10 usages, 80% of people see a difference, a marked difference in something that's happening in their body. So, what else would you like me to say?
Well, does anybody have any questions about, I mean, there's 144,000 frequencies that can assist the body. And I will tell you, I'll give you one testimonial. So it has anything from energy to sleep, job, the resonance. What I will say is this little device, it doesn't lie. There's no, you know, if you're speaking to a doctor, they have their opinions about things, and there's just no filter here. And so when you do a scan, I'll give you one of the examples is I was at the grocery store one morning early, and I just was really overwhelmed with loneliness. I hadn't interacted with anybody for a while, all of that, and then I came home and I did a resonance scan, and the first thing that it said was, and there's two, there's like the resonance and there's also an aura scan. So I did an aura scan, and it said, this person is lonely. And I was like, yeah. And then so that's the Blue app. So that's where you don't have to wear the wristbands. But then I also, I don't know what it is, maybe it's like transitioning into menopause and all of that, but I never used to get cramps, and I was having horrible cramps. And so there's a menstruation frequency or a cycle program that you can run. And so I ran it, and I'm telling you what, the rest of the day I was pain-free. And that is just, I just think that that was one of the best things that ever could have happened to me, was to get rid of my pain. But I did ask some other ladies that have used it to share some of their testimonials, if they wouldn't mind, because I really think that that speaks highly of what this little device can do. So Grace, would you start us off on your why and what's been going on with you?
Well, most people here know that I had an operation this last week, so I have a testimonial about that. But what I wanted to start with was when I first got the Healy, I immediately did the gold program, and I went through the total gold program, and I noticed a couple things right away. I've had floaters in my eyes for quite a few years, and you know, I get my eyes examined once a year, and they tell me this is just part of aging and blah blah blah. Don't worry about it. Well, I've noticed that my floaters, as I've started using the Healy, they're not as prominent as they were. So they're getting smaller, or they're fading. Maybe, I'm not sure what's happening, but I'm happy with that. The other thing that I don't usually like to admit to, but I will, I have what they call an enzyme in my liver, in my blood, that shows up sporadically. Runs in the family, my mother had it, they don't know what causes it. And you know, you go in and they say, oh, this is what's going on, and they want to put you on some drugs, whatever. And it comes every so many years. Well, about 4 months ago, I had a blood test, and it was for insurance. And immediately I get my test back, and they said, you have an enzyme in your liver. But because everything else was healthy, of course they approved me and everything was great. Well, it just so happens 2 weeks later, I got my Healy. So I thought, okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the liver and the circulation. So I ran both the liver and the circulation, and now, to be very honest, I run both of them once a week, just to keep everything flowing the way it should be flowing. And I have not done a scan. I just did this out of the, you know, thinking this is what needs to be done. My cells need this. And I had, all of a sudden, I found out I had to have this operation, so they did blood tests. And my brand new doctor phoned me back and said, you know, normally we don't phone you when no news is good news. But because you're a new patient, we wanted to phone you and tell you that your blood is perfect. There is absolutely nothing showing in your blood, which means that that enzyme, whatever the heck it is, that shows up sporadically, I have gotten rid of without taking any drugs and just by running the scans.
That's amazing. That is amazing. I hadn't heard that story.
And then the third thing is I've had this operation. So everybody knows that when you have an operation, they put you on painkillers. I'm not a big painkiller advocate. However, my doctor, who is phenomenal, said to me, Grace, when you take a painkiller, it is actually your cells healing. So the pain comes, and if you fight the pain, you're actually fighting against the healing. So if you can use the painkillers, only use them to get rid of the uncomfortable pain. So in other words, when you can't lie down because it was on my back. So I decided I was going to take the painkillers, fighting all the way, let me tell you, because I don't take stuff. And so I also know that painkillers usually constipate you very badly, and especially me because I don't take them. And I was also taking antibiotics that I knew I had to take. So 2 weeks before my operation, I decided to do a colon cleanse. I also did the large intestine, the small intestine. I also did the liver, and I also did the gallbladder, and I had absolutely no constipation whatsoever. And I took painkillers for 3 days.
That's amazing.
So, and the first thing my doctor asked me last week when I went in for my checkup was, so how constipated were you? Because I know you didn't want to take it. And I said, absolutely none. So the first day I was a little uncomfortable, but I really cannot say I was constipated. And so I did that before I took the painkillers. And then I continued to do it while I was taking the painkillers.
Which program were you using?
I was actually, I was using the liver. First of all, well, the week before I did the large intestine, small intestine. I did circulation again in the liver because I want to keep my blood going again.
Sure.
And of course, they opened up my back and removed a cyst. So I'm doing the skin.
Yeah, sure.
So of course I know I'm healing well.
Are you doing the pain?
No. And I never did the pain at all. And I took the painkillers. I had my operation Friday. I took the painkillers. Well, they numbed me, so it wasn't until late Friday night when I went to bed. All day Saturday, all day Sunday. Monday I took 1 in the morning. That was it. I never had to take any more painkillers.
That's great. That's awesome.
But I just that to me is phenomenal.
Did you tell your doctor about the healing?
No.
Okay.
But just to let you know, because this is on tape, I have not told her about the Healy because I go in on the 12th of November to get my stitches out, and I'm taking it with me.
That is great. I love that.
Grace,
And
that's
she's a
awesome.
plastic surgeon.
Oh my God, that's
Well,
fantastic.
I'm gonna share a written testimonial from a friend of mine that since you were talking about the pain.
Yeah.
So I have a friend of mine, he's well, I'll just read it.
Yeah.
So Erin Page, thanks for sharing your Healy therapy with me last week. As I stated before my first session, I had had chronic pain in my right shoulder for years. This summer, that pain has been exacerbated by my weekly baseball games and, of course, my old age of 53. During the three 20-minute sessions, I didn't notice any change. However, on Sunday, when I played my baseball game, I didn't even think about my shoulder. It didn't cross my mind one single time because there was zero pain when I threw the ball. There was zero pain when I batted, and there was zero pain when I woke up on Monday. And Monday is when I sent him a text message and to follow up. Honestly, I never even thought about it until you reached out to me mid-morning on Monday. If anyone's looking for a new version of pain treatment without medication, I would recommend Erin and her Healy therapy. It worked well for my shoulder. Now I need to try it out on my other old guy parts like my knees. And that's my friend Stan Tate, and he actually is the marketing director at Menorah Medical Center. And I did a follow-up with him 2 weeks later just to see how his shoulder was doing, and he said it was still doing great. So that's, that was pretty telling for someone to be in pain like that. Tina, would you share a little bit? Well, Kim, would you share? Okay, all right.
I stopped the two.
Yes.
A certain number, a small percentage of people are touted or described as being like opposite polar, like where they're normally positive, or they would normally test strong in certain situations, they're negative, and their like system is totally backwards. Will this work with them? Has it been tested with any of those people that are known to be kind of backwards, their energy polarity backwards?
Well, so
Yeah.
we'll have that conversation off camera because that anomaly, I'm questioning whether clinicians would agree that the polarity is backwards. There's a sensitivity that can be had that's extremely sensitive, and our energy systems are different all the time. That's one of the things that's cool about the Healy is that you can be one person an hour from now that's totally different than previous hour. That's how fast our own energetic systems change. So we'll have that conversation, but that's not actually, this isn't positive and negative, this is microcurrent.
Right.
So it isn't a positive and a negative. In your cells, the valence is a positive and negative depending on the portion of your cell that is engaged, but the microcurrents are not positive, negative charges. They're just microcurrents going to your body.
Okay. Thank you for that question, Gloria. I think that's great. So Tina, tell us, I just love your story. Thank you. Okay, so I have a number of things I'm using Healy for. One of my biggest things is I am just a stressed out person. I'm always like, I'm a teacher and I'm teaching distance this year. So I am not in the classroom, I'm in my own home. And one of the reasons I'm not teaching in the classroom is I have a history of cancer and my son does, and so we're just trying to be really safe. And so when I got it, I thought, I wonder if this can help with my extreme anxiety. And it does. When I use it for that, it helps. And to me, I think the most beneficial thing I've had happen is the sleep. Because I am not a good sleeper. I'm a person who can lay in bed and I wonder if I grade that paper, do I have that thing ready for tomorrow? And I just think about the dumbest stuff. And so when I am running it always shows up. When I'm feeling really exhausted, it will show. Exhaustion systems is what you need help with.
And that's with your resonance scan.
Yeah, with my resonance scans, right? So then I'll do the sleep programs and then I'm able to sleep. And it's just amazing. For a while, I was able to do it without having any meds at all. In the last few weeks, everything is broken down technologically at school. Like my computer I couldn't even use it. And I'm supposed to deliver all my content with my computer. And I literally spent several days last week wanting to cry. And so I did have to take like a half of one of my sleeping pills, but then I would do the Healy and it got me just knocked out. And I noticed that well for the whole night, which is rare for me. So I have a couple other things that are really cool. One is that when I run the resonance, it's so fun for me to see the things that show up that there's no way I can know it. You know, it's like, if you've ever gone to a psychic or done like a palm reading and you're always like, they'll give you like a random thing that like anybody could have gotten that reading. But one time I was at this place in New York and they did one, I was like, oh, there's no way they can know that. Maybe this girl's for real. The Healy is like my psychic interpreter. It doesn't lie. I will run it and I'm like, you've got to be kidding. There's no way I can know that. I had just taken off some fake nails a month ago. And they were all gross, when you take them off. And so I ran it, and the first one that came up really big was the nails program. Nails and skin are your cells are destroyed. And I was like, yep. No one could tell the Healy that. It read me like a book. It was amazing. There have been several other times that they'll bring it. I know that I'm just not feeling right, and they'll do the resonance analysis, and I'll go, okay, yeah, that's what's going on with me. It's really cool. And there have been days where emotionally I'm not feeling right, and my aura scan can show it. One of my favorite things is that I did a scan with a friend that is long distance. She's in Florida. So I used my resonance to do a scan for her. She's suffering from Lyme disease. And when I ran it, every single thing that came back when I read it to her, she was like, yep. I mean, every single thing was just specific to her. Now, I'm a questioner. So I was like, I don't know. Is this really giving her reading or mine? Because it's in my hand, not hers. And so right after that, I put her picture away, ran it as myself, and got a completely different reading that fit me perfectly. And so it just solidified in my mind, yes, you can do these distant scans that each scan is individual for the person. And I think it's really cool that when I do, let's say I do the sleep mode on myself,
and then I do it later on my son, we're getting different frequencies. You can tell when the device it to like you're getting this many, and then your cells get better, and it goes, okay, then every few seconds it changes to a different frequency. And then when I give it to my son, he's getting something totally different because it's not a one size fits all. It's really individual for what you need, and it can sense when your cells have gotten what they need in that area, moves to a different frequency. It's so individualized. I love it. So that's my experience.
Gary, do you want to share?
I do.
Okay.
Because one of the other things, so that's the physical. And the physical is profound. When I first got it, I used just the physical because I wanted to be able to speak to what that meant. But what's really intriguing about the physical is that I also was bouncing all over the place. I did the Pure program, all gold program first, but then I bounced all over. Then I had someone suggest, so remember, this has only been around in the world for 15 months, so there isn't a lot of who can I ask these questions of, which is part of the excitement of this. We're part of a new wave, literally, of healthcare, literally. But she said, stick with something until it's taken care of. You did that with the skin program, Erin, when you ran the skin program. And I was so curious. I noticed when I first did it, I was all over the place. After I stopped the gold programs, I was all over the place. But when I look at all the physical things that have occurred with me, I have to still say, and I'm going to do the same thing Erin did, the biggest benefit for me in this moment is the unexpected of the resonance and the emotional body. Because we are not just our physical bodies. We are spiritual, we're emotional, every aspect. So there's two things in the resonance in the Blue app. One of them scans your whole body and tells you where you're out of resonance. But one, as Tina said, is an aura scan. So it also gives you descriptions. It tells you where you're out of whack, but then it gives you written descriptions when you hit, I'm going to vibrate this energetic. So I've been doing this for months. And I had an episode with my mom and my brother a week and a half before, and it was family drama in Utah. And I'm like, I'm still not sure how to deal with this. I do my scan, and what it comes out is the scan saying to me, root chakra, so this is basic, is mother relationship, home, and money. And I sat there and I thought, oh my God, I'm 69 years old. And that is the first time in black and white in front of my face. While I've known those issues were there, I never saw it in a single sentence that so simply said to me, this is the root of all the discomfort of your life. And I have had the most profound experiences. So while it's a miracle for me, physically, the spiritual and emotional aspects of the things this little gizmo has done for me has made it, honestly, aside from my children, the most valuable thing that I have going on right now, because it's the greatest self-care I've ever done.
I love that. Well, does anyone have any specific questions before I wrap up? Jessica, do you have any questions? And you may have a lot you can get together with Grace. There's a lot to take in with this.
Yeah.
Oh,
I love that. I love it. I got to share this one thing. Okay, today I'm taking a break from my cleanse because my week was awful and I deserve food and wine. I started a cleanse, and because with the distance teaching, all things I'm doing, I just comfort eating. I've been grabbing it fast and quick. Sometimes I don't even sit down for lunch. I just grab something and I eat it as a testing or whatever. And so I'm to the point where my clothes aren't fitting, and it started coming up the my healthy weight. I need to work on that, which I knew. And so I started doing this cleanse. All of a sudden, a few days after I've been into it, I got what I've never had before. It said fatty regeneration, because I'm starting to get rid of all the fat cells, and it's like, it knew it. I was like, even the Healy knows I'm cleansing.
And you're doing it.
Okay. I love it.
It's Grace shared this a little bit with me, but I forgot the details. What are the different levels, the gold level and the other levels, and what's included in each level?
okay. So, with the Healy, what?
I'm sorry, did Jessica just ask?
Jessica, did you have a question?
No,
Okay.
no, I'll get with Grace.
Okay, yeah, there's a lot to take in and to talk about.
Yeah.
So there's 4 different ways that the Healy can shift your life. So there's the gold, there's a holistic plus, and then there's the resonance. So with the gold, and this shows integrity with the company, is that it actually gives you the best of the best frequencies and programs with the gold. So a lot of companies, as the more money that you spend or the higher you go up, then you get the best of the best. So essentially what you're doing is you are purchasing programs to use. So there's the gold that comes with a certain number of programs, and then it goes up from there. The first 3 are what would need the wristbands, and then the resonance is the one where you can actually do the scan of the body. And you can actually do the frequency healing, if you will, remotely. And you can, like I worked with I have the resonance, and my massage therapist, his Healy hadn't shown up yet, and his dad was he lives in Omaha in an assisted living, and he was feeling really depressed and all of that. So I actually did a scan for Charlie remotely, and I was sending him frequencies every day. And Tom, my massage therapist, called me on a Thursday night at about 7, and he goes, I just have to tell you, I got off my dad actually called me, which is really rare, and my heart dropped because I wasn't sure what was going on. And he goes, I don't know what you've been doing for me this week, but it's been amazing. And that's remote, and I've never met Charlie before. So this is what I'll say in closing, is that Terry called me in June, and she said, I know that you've been looking for something, and I think I've got something for you. And when she and I have talked, and we have said that this is like an answer to a prayer. There's been healing mentally, emotionally, and physically for me, and I believe in a higher power. I believe in, God is is brought this to me and has been able to reach out to so many people, and we're just shifting lives. So I'll say this in closing, that it's not a miracle drug. It's not a miracle protein. It's not a vitamin. It's not anything like that. But there are miracles happening in people's lives because of this. And that's why I'm so proud to share it. So thank you for your time. Jessica, thank you for tuning in. Any questions that you have, please get in touch with Grace. I have recorded this. I know some people, it's a busy day, go cheese here at about 3:30, 3:45 or whatever, that some people couldn't come. So if you want, I'll upload this to my YouTube channel. And I also have other testimonials and other sessions, if you will, or presentations on the YouTube channel as well that you can share. One more thing?
I want one more thing. Yeah.
Okay, the last word.
The last. I don't know if it's the last word, but it's a word. So Jessica, one of the things that I admire so much about you is you're active in the world, doing things you really believe in. When I came here 2 years ago, I knew there was a reason I was being brought here besides the fact that my kids were here, but I hadn't discovered what that reason was. And through COVID and all of the trauma that got created in all of us, and I live alone, so it was a bigger mouthful for me than I expected it to be, quite frankly. It was pretty interesting. What Erin said about being an answer to a prayer, the world needs us in a way, needs healthy thought, needs healthy living, needs consciousness in a way it never has before. Without a shadow of a doubt, this and the women that have collected as a result of all of this in just Kansas City that I've known, and that we've all come together with this is, I know, a huge part of why God brought me back here 2 years ago, because this is changing people's lives. But it's changing people's lives at the root, and the root is if we can't feel good in our bodies, we can't move in the world in successful ways, because first and foremost is our emotional and spiritual and physical well-being. So this is a catalyst to help. And the last thing I'll say is Marcus said the other day, this is the founder, that the only way this will have an impact on the world is one person at a time as it changes people's lives. It's not about selling something. It isn't that it's a medical device. All of those things are magical in and of itself, but it is the intention of this is to change people's lives for the better. And hands down, that has been my experience with this. So just the collection of women and the vibe in the room of sharing, this is the love revolution in KC. And I want to thank Erin, because when she said a yes to me, we knew, I knew, she knew, we were both in places in our lives that there was more being asked of us and more presenting for us. And so that dynamic is one of the reasons I'm so grateful everybody's here listening, and you virtually, because the work you do is so incredibly admirable. And I feel like I've found my piece in the world here. And anything that can help people's lives be better, we're all on board with that. So thank you all very much for showing up.
We are definitely, we've talked about this so many times, that we're coming from a heart-centered space, and we're not going to shift that at all. And we are attracting heart-centered people into this lovely organization that we're creating and sharing. So, and much to your point, when you feel good, you can go out and do good. So that's what Bye, Jessica. Have a wonderful day with your babies.
Tell Grace, they haven't gotten here yet, so I've been able to pay attention.
Oh,
Tell Grace you need to
Yay.
come here and say hi.
that's awesome. Well, here, say goodbye to everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care.
See you later.
Sounds great. See you later.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
And I have another friend who wanted to come really bad. She is